Hey guys, welcome back. So story time. So today I want to share something with you which is very close to my heart. So much so that whatever I'm about to share with you, you will be able to relate. Especially a lot of Punjabi families and Jat families will be able to relate to what I'm about to tell you. So before I tell you what video I will be talking about, because obviously from the subject line you must have figured out what I'm going to be talking about, but this is more of a little background to that. So as I said, I'm from a Punjabi and a Jat family. I'm the only child, and being the only child, I was pampered with a lot of food options. Eat this, eat that, beta. Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? I was, probably they made me eat many things. And while I was in my early, about 9 or 10 years old, I was a very skinny guy. But because I was 10 years or something, or 10 or 11 years, I fell sick. I got typhoid, and because I was sick and I was bedridden, my mom, showing her love to me, made me eat a lot of junk food. When I say junk food, I mean butter and fats and stuff, so that I could recover from it. Obviously, that back then there was no internet, there was no information what you should eat. But the idea for every Indian mother is to feed his or her child with food. It doesn't matter wherever the source is, whatever. She doesn't care if it's protein, carbs, fats, whatever. She just wants to eat. So I'm sure your mother's like that too. So after I recovered from my typhoid, I wasn't a skinny kid anymore, and I realized that once I started going back to my school, and people refused to recognize me, and they started calling me fat, mote, fat, all those names. And I used to come back home and ask my mother, "Hey, am I fat?" And my mother would say, "No, you're not fat. You're fine." And this is exactly what what led to this. I kept on eating. For next 3 to 4 years, and what the repercussion of that was, I gained about good 15 to 20 kilos, and from male characteristics I started developing female characteristics, because of the high estrogen buildup in my body, thanks to my high fat percentage and the kind of food that I was eating, which included chest fat, which included no hardness in my body, because I was also hitting my teens, so all the testosterone, there was a huge influx of testosterone in my body, which was also getting converted into estrogen, plus the wrong lifestyle, the complex that I was living in because I was fat. And this made me really depressed. And because it wasn't my mother's fault, not my parents' fault, because they really didn't know much about it, what food that they should feed me. And I'm sure this is the story of many of Indian kids these days, and I see a lot of Indian kids with female characteristics. I see a lot of parents forcing their kids to eat stuff. They really don't know what food they should eat. So I'm going to be covering here food that you should eat, not just as a kid, but as a person who is prone to a high estrogen level in the body. How do you know you have high estrogen in your body? For kids, obviously you'll have chest fat. For people in the 20s, obviously you have more of female characteristics, which includes a little bit of female male boobs, softness, belly fat, and low sex drive. And people in their 40s and 50s, again, it's just the extension to that. So what can you do to fix this? So guys, the first thing I would tell you to do is, first I would request all the Indian parents that stop feeding your child with so much of food. You could be a guys in the 20s or 30s, please, I know, as a mother, as a father, as a parent, don't do that. So there are certain food items. Back then, if my parents knew, they would not have fed me, because I lived with that phobia or complex of just fat for years. And there's so many kids these days who live with this, because there's so much of an inferiority complex. I have chest fat, I can't wear these kind of clothes, I can't do this, I can't do that. You really, and it's a very uncomfortable spot. And I get so many questions from kids these days asking me that, "Tarun, I have so much of chest fat, what do I do? It's really embarrassing, I can't even go swimming, I can't do anything, my friends make fun of me." So here's the request to Indian parents that they should do. And more than Indian parents, I think, guys, you should be able to fix this on your own by doing these things. Number one, you've got to minimize soya. I've done a different video on it, guys, because soya mimics the estrogen buildup in your body. So forget those soya chops, forget those soya granules, as a snack, forget it. Do not have soya at all. If even if you are a bodybuilder, or even if you're an aspiring athlete, you really don't need to have soya on a daily basis. Do not have it. This is, if you're a vegetarian, this should not be the right source of protein for you if you have a higher estrogen level in your body. Number two, you got to avoid or minimize sugar. Sugar again is a known culprit here. I'm not talking about natural sugar, I'm talking about table sugar. You got to minimize it, because this would really escalate your estrogen level in your body. Number three, dairy products. The reason why I say dairy products, milk, which I've done a different video on, and why milk is not good for you, is because there is so much of adulteration in the milk these days. You'll be surprised. I had a few parents reaching out to me with their daughters, reaching menstruation in about the age of 9 or 10 in their cycle. That's because of the adulteration in the milk. You really can't trust anybody, right, these days. So this is exactly what I'm about to tell you. If the high estrogen buildup can do this to a woman, just imagine what will it do to a man. So it's very important for you to minimize dairy. Number four, you got to minimize animal fats. Obviously you can have fish and stuff, chicken and all this animal fat, like leg pieces and stuff. You got to minimize it. These are some of the things, if you were to do it right, you will be able to minimize that estrogen buildup in your body, so that you probably can fix it in the long term, or probably in the next step. So now I'm going to tell you what are the food items that you should have, which is more of an anti-estrogen diet, which can help you fix your estrogen level. So number one, you got to have more of nuts. Nuts are very important, and everything and anything that you cook, you got to cook in olive oil. Olive oil is known to have anti-estrogen properties. You got to cook your food in olive oil. It doesn't matter what people say, it's healthy, but for you guys who have high estrogen, for you guys you have chest fat, you got to cook food in olive oil. You got to add a lot of fibers. When I say fibers, I mean broccoli, cabbage, carrots. You got to have that. They're your best friends. So whenever in doubt, whenever hungry, eat that, guys. Whenever you have sugar cravings, because you're not supposed to have sugar. The reason why you should not have sugar is because sugar will also lead to weight gain, and weight gain eventually is the culprit why you have high estrogen level in your body. That's why you have to avoid those things. Where you can fix and kind of take care of your sugar cravings is obviously through fruits, natural fruits. The best fruit for you will be berries, strawberries, berries, all kinds of berries. It's very good. If you are an alcohol drinker, guys, you got to stop drinking alcohol, because alcohol is known, it's estrogen's best friend. If you're in your 20s, or if you're in your 30s, 40s, whatever, you got to stop your alcohol intake if you want to maintain your muscle mass, if you want to avoid those female characteristics coming in. If you are an alcoholic, it's even worse. So the really good alcohol that you can consume, that too also in moderation, is red wine. It sounds a little sissy to most of the men out there, but hey, that's the best you can do. Avoid alcohol consumption, guys. Another thing that I'm going to tell you to Indian household families, that whatever you cook, you have to cook it in olive oil. You got to have garlic and onions in it, as a tadka. It's very important. So because garlic and onion have a very good combination, plus if you can add turmeric, it's just brilliant. Remember, if anybody who was back in the days had an injury, they would just put turmeric, milk with turmeric, or especially it's called haldi in Hindi. People would recover, because it has such great healing properties. So that's why it's important for you to have haldi, have this turmeric in your diet. So guys, these are some of the things you can do. These are the things that I started doing much later, because I didn't know much about it. I thought it'll be a good idea for me to share it with you, because so many of you are struggling with this, and I don't like it. I wish I could do something about it. So I thought this video will be of great help to you. Especially guys who are struggling with their chest fat, especially guys who are struggling with female characteristics, chest fat being predominantly one of them. I hope this video helps you. I hope you make these lifestyle changes in your life, so that you don't live in that inferiority complex, guys. And I'm telling you, as a person who had chest fat, some of you will still say that I still have it. That's okay, but I've kind of minimized it, guys. So I hope this video helps you. Any one of you have any questions around this, feel free to reach out to me either on my Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. I've also initiated a WhatsApp group. I'll be adding more people on WhatsApp group, so that it stabilizes the channel. It'll be very helpful for you to so that I can answer your question, but you got to be a little more patient. I also do this Q&A series every Sunday via live feed. What you really need to do is you need to go onto your Twitter handle and go #AskTarunGill, and you can put your queries, and I will answer those queries via those live feed. So I hope this video helps you. If you really like my content, guys, feel free to subscribe. I never say this, but again, I'm telling this to you. Feel free to do that. And any one of your questions, again, where you know where to reach out to. So until we meet again, peace.